The French Broad River is older than the mountains it cuts through. Long before Asheville existed, before the roads crossed the valleys of western North Carolina, the river already flowed north through the Blue Ridge, ancient, silent, watching. And for generations, people along its banks told stories. Stories of something moving beneath the water, something larger than a fish, too long to be an otter, too strange to explain. Cherokee families whispered about it. Settlers reported seeing it. Fishermen occasionally claimed they still do. A creature known in local legend as the Dakwa. This is Echoes of the Blue Ridge. I'm North Carolina Realtor Ryan Phillips. Rivers have always carried stories. Nearly every culture has legends tied to deep water. Serpents, spirits, unknown creatures hidden beneath the surface. And perhaps no river in Appalachia carries more mystery than the French Broad. It winds through some of the oldest terrain in North America, through Cherokee homeland, ancient settlements, sacred valleys. A river old enough to remember things people forgot long ago. The French Broad River is considered one of the oldest rivers in the world, older than the Appalachian Mountains in their current form. For thousands of years, Cherokee communities lived beside it. The river provided food, travel routes, medicine, and spiritual connection. But rivers were never viewed as empty places. In Cherokee tradition, deep water often carried spiritual significance. Some places along the river were respected, some avoided, and some stories warn that certain things live beneath the surface. Descriptions of the Dakwa vary depending on who tells the story. Some described a serpent-like creature moving through deep stretches of the river. Others claimed it resembled an enormous eel or ancient fish. A few accounts spoke of something with dark, ridged skin breaking briefly above the water before disappearing again. Most sightings shared the same unsettling quality. The creature moved silently, deliberately, and usually appeared in isolated places where the river ran unusually deep, particularly during heavy fog or low evening light. There's very little written documentation about the Dakwa specifically. Much of the tradition survives through fragmented local stories, oral retellings, or regional folklore. But what matters is pattern itself. Cherokee cosmology often connected rivers, lakes, and deep water to powerful unseen forces. Water was life-giving, but it could also become dangerous. And throughout indigenous traditions across North America, serpents and water beings appear again and again. The Dakwa may reflect one local expression of those older beliefs, part creature legend, part spiritual memory, part warning about the unknown depths of nature itself. Anyone who has stood beside the French Broad after dark understands how quickly the river changes. Fog rises low across the surface. The current moves almost silently. Shadows distort along the banks, and in certain stretches of the river, it becomes difficult to judge depth, movement, or distance at all. In the ancient world before artificial light and modern noise, places like this must have felt deeply alive, and perhaps dangerous, especially when strange movements appeared beneath the water. Modern listeners naturally search for explanation. Large fish, otters, floating debris, distorted light, and certainly some sightings may have ordinary causes. But legends endure for reasons deeper than evidence alone. Stories like the Dakwa remind us that ancient people viewed rivers differently than we often do today, not merely as resources, but as living presences, places deserving respect, places capable of memory. The creature itself may matter less than what the story preserved. A relationship between humans and the natural world rooted in caution, reverence, and humility. The French Broad has witnessed thousands of years of human history. Cherokee villages, trading routes, floods, wars, settlements rising and disappearing along its banks. And through all of it, the river continued moving north through the mountains, unchanged in ways people are not. Perhaps that is why river legends survive so easily. because rivers themselves feel timeless, as though they carry memories humans can no longer fully access. There are places along the French Broad where the world still feels ancient, where fog drifts low through the sycamore trees, where the water moves dark beneath steep banks, and where silence settles differently than it does elsewhere. Maybe stories like the Dakwa survive because people sensed something in those places that resisted explanation. Not necessarily a monster beneath the water, but mystery, the understanding that nature still contains things humans do not fully understand, and perhaps never will. The next time you drive the winding roads through western North Carolina, through Asheville, the river valleys, and the gaps between the mountains, remember that long before modern highways, another road crossed through these ridges. A road filled with drovers, wagons, livestock, traders, and travelers moving slowly through the Blue Ridge. The Buncombe Turnpike carried more than commerce. It carried change. And along that old road traveled thousands of stories now mostly forgotten by time. But if you look closely at the mountains, the old routes are still there beneath the modern world. And somewhere along those ancient paths, the echoes still remain. Until next time, listen carefully. The echoes are still here.